Hey YouTube, what's up? In JT Sasuke, I'm here to bring you guys a double review for Bleach. Bleach chapters 652 and 653. I tackling two together because I felt like 652 didn't have enough meat in it. So, that being said, 652 started off with a flashback. Basically in that note, um, kind of remembering the first time she saw Kuriaku. Kuriaku was at her mom's house with her. She was hiding behind the door. Her mom was letting Kuriaku know that he needed to take the sword. And I think the reason why she wanted the sword taken away is because A, she had probably used it by that point and she was going to die later, as well as the fact that she didn't want to pass the sword on to her daughter. So she gave it to Kuriaku, who was a close family friend, and it wouldn't affect him because he's not part of the family. He's not part of the family by blood, anyways. So Kuriaku said that he couldn't possibly take an item such as important as this, and like I said, she let him know that it's not going to affect him. So he took the sword, and that's when she noticed something about him. Noticed his kimono as well as the hairpins in the back of his head. So when she went to the Soul Reaper Academy, she actually ended up seeing him again and realizing this was the man who came to my mom's house and took whatever sword that my mom was trying to give. We then move out of the flashback and we see Nanu trying to fight the X-Axis. Now, the X-Axis is still in his weird bird form. She tells him that what happens is her sword starts to reflect light, and it actually kind of blinds the X-Axis for a moment. He says it's a really shiny sword. It's really a bit of an eyesore. And Nano was like, oh, really? Well, that's good. It reflects the light of the god it's facing. And eventually she tries to attack him, and it doesn't work. He ends up parrying the attack and throwing her back. And after he throws her back, he ends up creating a giant ball of what looked like a giant ball of light. Could be a giant ball of energy in the air. And after that, she just gets kind of like paralyzed. Like she's terrified. She sees an attack coming. She's surprised that he was able to even parry her sword, and she doesn't know what to do. That's when Kuryaku comes up behind her, and he's just like, "Hey, I got you." Now, in this chapter, we also start off with a flashback. This is Kuryaku when he was younger, and Kuryaku right now is he was doing something, and his big brother, who was actually a lot older than him, I found out, and we find out in the chapter, ended up headbutting him, and it was kind of funny. I kind of laughed on the inside. It's early, so I couldn't laugh out loud the way I wanted to, but it was kind of funny. They were just making comments about how Nano's mom really mellowed him out, because I guess he must have been more abrasive and aggressive and a little more crazy. But eventually, her kindness was able to kind of soothe him out. And in previous chapters, we did hear Kuriaku say that it was Nano's mom that actually allowed um, him and his brother to become closer, which is very interesting to see that in this chapter. But we go forward and we see that right before Kuriaku comes up behind Nano, um, she's paralyzed. She's been cut, and she's paralyzed once more by fear. She never held a blade. She never fought with a sword, so she never knew what sword combat felt like. And this is the first time that she's ever felt this kind of pain, the first time she's ever felt this kind of fear, and she just doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to handle herself or how to compose herself. And which makes a lot of sense because she's never held a sword, she's never done sword combat. She always uses Kido, and she's very proficient with Kido, but that's all she knows. So when you go into sword combat and you get hurt, you're not really sure how to do it. So that right there is a really cool thing that they added. In my opinion, I really like that. The fact that they show the effects of someone who hasn't been in combat and how combat affects someone who's never been there before. But moving forward, then we have Kuryaku who lets her know that they're going to do this together. That's when we have the X-axis, who then says, "You finally come out of hiding. You were hiding behind your subordinate. You're such a poor excuse for a captain commander." What ends up happening is they end up throwing a slash, and part of the X-axis, like his arm and the other half of his wing, just comes off. And that's when we actually get to see the X-axis. Be like, okay, so I remember you saying something about it reflecting the light of a god, or the light of the god. The light of the god that it faces. And then that's when, like, I'm believing is like giant shards of just energy just starting to come down, and that's pretty much where the chapter ends. Something I skipped is that we also see that the curse of the sword, is also starting to affect Nano. So that's a thing. But these two chapters, individual, like last week's chapter was okay. This week's chapter is okay. Together as a continuous story, I actually liked it a lot. If these two chapters were released as like a double issue, I would have liked it a lot. But it's fairly interesting. TJ Kubo definitely makes good use of flashback, and I like and together as a joint unit, I like these chapters overall. With that being said, that's my review for today. Comment down below, let me know what you guys thought, and subscribe to my channel for more Bleach content. All right, peace.